Someone went to the beach last summer. Same highway, same parking lot, same water. They didn't come home. Not bad luck, not a freak accident, because the beach they chose is on this list. And they didn't know. Before you plan your next trip, you need to see all 13. Number 11. A Florida beach where the University of Florida has mathematically proven that every person who ever swam there was within 10 feet of a shark. Every time. Number 7. Iceland. The ocean shows you 20 minutes of harmless small waves, until you turn your back. Then it sends the one that takes you. Number 3. A city beach. Hotels, restaurants, office buildings. A 1990 construction project accidentally invited the world's most aggressive sharks to live permanently in the shallows out front. And number 1. A lake that doesn't drown you. It turns you into stone. There are photographs. You need to see them. 13 locations, all open to visitors right now. All being photographed today by people with no idea what's beneath them. Let's count them down. Number 13, Maho Beach, Sint Maarten. The danger here is not sharks, not currents. It's a Boeing 747. Maho Beach sits at the physical end of the runway of Princess Juliana International Airport. Not near it, at it. Landing gear passes 40 feet over sunbathers. The photos look digitally altered. They are not. But the approach isn't where people get hurt. Departure is. Short runway, 7,500 feet for heavy aircraft. Pilots hold full engine power on the brakes before release. What exits the back of those engines? A directed column of superheated air at 100 miles per hour. Behind every departing plane, pressed against the chain-link fence, is a crowd of tourists who specifically came here for this. They call it fence surfing. Adults get lifted off their feet and thrown into concrete. Rocks become shrapnel. Broken bones. Concussions, bad enough to require medical evacuation. Deaths. The warning signs are enormous. 5 languages. They include photographs of people being thrown. The fence is always full. Maho is the only beach on Earth where you can collect a traumatic brain injury before happy hour. And the gift shop will sell you a shirt about it. Number 12. Hanakapi'ai Beach, Kauai, Hawaii. No roads. 2-mile hike along cliff faces above the Pacific. Over an hour each way. When you finally see it, gold sand, emerald cliffs, waterfalls, you feel like you earned something. Then you walk to the water, and you make the last mistake you will ever make on a beach. No protective reef. Nothing between this shore and thousands of miles of open Pacific. Every wave arrives at full force, but the waves aren't what kills people here. Beneath the surface, rip currents run like underwater highways toward open ocean with a force that does not negotiate. A rip current here doesn't pull at you. It takes you. Completely. Immediately. Olympic swimmers have gone in and not come back. At the trailhead, a wooden sign, warning of dangerous conditions. Below the warning, a hand-carved tally. Every confirmed death at this beach. Over 80 marks. Not rescues, not close calls. 80 confirmed fatalities. People who drove your road, hiked your trail, stood in your spot, saw your waterfall, and didn't go home. The Pacific doesn't always return what it takes. The most common last moment here isn't a swim gone wrong. It's someone standing knee-deep, taking a photo. 1 wave, 1 second. Gone. Number 11. New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Some of you have been here. That's what makes this one different. Not exotic, not remote. An hour south of Daytona, families, clean sand, decent waves. The kind of place you've driven past and thought nothing of. International Shark Attack File, University of Florida. They track every documented shark attack on the planet. Their conclusion on New Smyrna Beach: if you have ever swum here, there is a 100% probability you were within 10 feet of a shark. Every single time. You didn't see it. It saw you. Why? The Ponce de Leon Inlet nearby creates the most productive feeding zone on the eastern seaboard. Massive baitfish schools, thousands of sharks following them, blacktips, spinners, bull sharks. We'll come back to those. The water is almost never clear. Zero visibility below the surface. The sharks aren't hunting people, they're hunting fish. A hand or foot in churning white water registers the same signal as an injured baitfish. The shark bites, registers, it's wrong, releases. Cost to the human: severed tendons, damaged nerves, deep lacerations. Sometimes fingers, sometimes a hand. Local surfers treat these injuries like traffic tickets. Got bit Tuesday, back out Thursday. Drone footage above this beach shows what swimmers never see. Hundreds of dark shapes in 4 feet of water among the children. Among the families, right now. Number 10. Cape Tribulation, Queensland, Australia. Australia stacks threats like no other country on Earth. Cape Tribulation is the proof. Oldest rainforest in the world meets the Great Barrier Reef. Genuinely one of the most beautiful places on this planet. You simply cannot touch any of it. In the water, saltwater crocodiles. 20 feet long, 2,000 pounds. Patient, intelligent, and they classify humans as prey without hesitation. Sharing that water. Box jellyfish. One full contact encounter can stop a human heart in 4 minutes. Stay on the beach. The beach isn't safe either. In the forest behind you, the cassowary. A bird the height of a person descended from dinosaurs. One dagger-shaped claw on each foot, capable of eviscerating a person in a single strike. Documented. On record. Growing over the trail itself, the Jimpy Jimpy tree. Broad green leaves, soft-looking fuzz. That fuzz is thousands of microscopic silica needles loaded with a neurotoxin. One light brush, not a fall, one brush, delivers pain researchers formally describe as being sprayed with acid and electrocuted simultaneously. The needles don't dissolve. They stay in the skin and inject toxin for months, sometimes years. Animals and people have lost psychological stability from sustained Jimpy Jimpy exposure. Number 9. Copacabana Beach, Rio de Janeiro. 4 kilometers of white sand, luxury towers, the deep blue Atlantic. One of the most photographed coastlines in the world. The danger has nothing to do with the water. It has a name, Arrastão, Portuguese for the trawl, as in a fishing net that sweeps everything in its path. How it works. A coordinated group, sometimes over 100 people, spreads across the width of the beach. Then they run. They move through sunbathers like one organism. Bags grabbed, jewelry stripped, phones gone. The whole event takes seconds. By the time your brain processes the chaos, they've dissolved into the crowd or the streets behind the promenade. This is not a pickpocket. This is a coordinated mass event that turns an entire beach into a crime scene simultaneously. Quiet day rule. Put your bag down to swim, your bag will be gone. Not a risk, a certainty. Children work the crowd in teams. One approaches openly while 2 work your pockets. Professional, organized. The police presence is real. 4 kilometers of dense sand cannot be fully covered. The beauty is genuine. The threat is equally genuine. You simply decide which one you're willing to experience. Number 8. Zipolite Beach, Oaxaca, Mexico. The name in the indigenous Zapotec language, Beach of the Dead. Ancient tribes sent their deceased out into the Pacific from here. The place was consecrated to death. Today, bohemian paradise, backpackers, artists, nude beach, cheap accommodation, spectacular sunsets. The Pacific here did not update its policies. 2 kilometers of fully exposed coastline. No bay, no reef, nothing between this sand and the open Pacific. Beneath the calm-looking surface, the rebentazo, a hydraulic reversal current with the force of an industrial pump. It forms without warning. You're standing waist-deep. Surface barely rippled. Someone on shore has their camera up. Next second, the sand under your feet disappears. Something invisible and overwhelming pulls you sideways and outward toward open ocean. The rebentazo doesn't tire. The more energy you spend fighting it, the less you have left. Dozens of people drown here every year, most of them strong swimmers, many of them experienced ocean swimmers. Confidence in water is not a defense here. For some, it's what keeps them in long past the point of return. Red flags fly almost every day of the year. Most tourists decide the locals are being cautious. The locals are being accurate. Number 7. Reynisfjara Beach, Iceland. We're at the halfway point, and I need to flag something. The beaches we've covered will hurt you if you make a mistake. What's coming will hurt you when you don't. Number 3. A city beach where a 1990 engineering decision resulted in a permanent population of bull sharks in the shallows directly in front of resort hotels. Number 1. The lake, the stone statues. Stay with me. But first, Iceland. Jet black volcanic sand. Cathedral-like basalt columns. Iron-coloured water. It looks as dangerous as it is. Reynisfjara is known for one specific thing: sneaker waves. For 20 minutes, you watch modest waves roll in and retreat halfway up the beach. Consistent, predictable. Your nervous system relaxes. You turn your back to take a photo. A wave arrives that is nothing like the ones before it. No change in sound, no visual warning. 40-50 feet further up the beach with the mass of a concrete wall. Water temperature, 39 degrees Fahrenheit. Contact causes involuntary muscle seizure. Cold shock sets in within seconds. You cannot swim. You cannot stand. You cannot think clearly. As it pulls back, the suction is physically irresistible. The ocean floor drops steeply just offshore. The current does not release. The beach has a traffic light warning system. Green, yellow, red. People wait for green. They still get taken. One rule at Reynisfjara: never turn your back on the water, not for a photo, not for 1 second. Iceland's Coast Guard updates the annual statistics at the start of each new year. Number 6, Juhu Beach, Mumbai, India. Every other beach on this list threatens you with something you can see or feel. This one threatens you with something invisible that enters your body before you realize you're in danger. Juhu Beach looks beautiful at golden hour. Promenade, palm trees, sun dropping into the Arabian Sea. Walk closer. The water is dark grey, sometimes black, not seaweed. Mumbai's industrial output and untreated sewage, 20 million people's worth, discharges directly into this sea. Bacterial concentration regularly exceeds safe limits by hundreds of times. One swallowed mouthful, from a wave you didn't see coming, is a proven path to cholera, typhoid, hepatitis A, or dysentery. Not a risk, a path. Every September, millions of worshippers gather here for the festival of Ganesh Chaturthi. They walk into this water up to their chests. Many submerge completely. The faith is genuine and profound. The water does not negotiate with faith. The danger here is invisible. That makes it no less real. Number 5. Altar du Chão. Amazon River, Brazil. Everything about beach safety assumes you're at the ocean. Alta do Chão destroys that assumption. In dry season, white sand beaches appear along the Amazon. Clear, warm, turquoise fresh water. No salt. No surf. 15-foot visibility. It looks like the Caribbean. It is the Amazon. In this water, piranhas, blood, or frantic splashing can trigger a feeding event that moves faster than you can react. Electric eels, 800 volts. Enough to incapacitate an adult human in the water. Drowning from something you never saw. Freshwater stingrays, buried in the sandy bottom, invisible. Step on one. Hospital for months. The candiru, a nearly transparent parasitic catfish that can enter a body cavity through a water current and anchor itself inside using retractable spines that open like an umbrella. Removal requires surgery. Locals swim here regularly and mostly without incident. They know what they're dealing with. Visitors see the Caribbean. They forget they're standing in the Amazon. That specific confusion is where the accidents happen. Number 4. Gansbaai, South Africa. A 164-foot wide channel between two landmasses. Southwestern tip of South Africa. Marine biologists call it Shark Alley. Not for drama, for accuracy. One side, Geyser Rock. 60,000 Cape Fur seals. The primary food source for the highest concentration of great white sharks on Earth. These animals have learned this channel. They patrol it. They know its currents. They hunt here using the breach, launching their entire body completely clear of the surface. The impact shockwave reaches you in the chest from 100 yards away. The dive industry lowers tourists into the water in steel cages. Safety record. Generally solid. Generally solid is not risk-free. Great whites attracted by bait operate at peak predatory drive. Documented cases. Sharks forcing themselves between cage bars. Documented cases. Animals partially inside cages, thrashing in the space now shared with a paying customer. Gansbaai is the only place on Earth where you pay money to have your survival depend on weld quality. Swimming here without a cage is a guaranteed position in the food chain. Number 3. Viagem Beach, Recife, Brazil. This one should make you angry, because this one was preventable. Viagem, Recife, Brazil. High-rises, international hotels, restaurants at the water's edge. Before 1990, completely safe. Families for generations. Then the city built an industrial port 15 miles south. To accommodate large tankers, construction destroyed mangrove forests at river mouths and altered 2 river systems. The mangroves had been functioning for centuries as a natural barrier between shark habitat and the beaches. When they were removed, the barrier ceased to exist. The shipping lanes created a second problem no one modelled. Bull sharks follow large vessels. The ships travelling to the new port created a navigational highway from open ocean directly to Recife's city beaches. And bull sharks moved in. We need to stop here, because bull sharks require explanation. Most people fear great whites. Great whites are not the most dangerous shark to humans. Bull sharks are. Great whites investigate, bite, usually disengage. Bull sharks are aggressive, territorial, with the highest recorded testosterone levels of any vertebrate species on Earth. They don't investigate, they attack, and they thrive in exactly the conditions at Viagem. Warm, murky water, waist-deep, knee-deep. Most attacks here have occurred in 3 to 5 feet of water, not past the break, not in any channel, in the shallows directly in front of the resort properties, in the water where someone stands holding a drink, watching the sunset as a 10-foot bull shark approaches from below through water too murky to see anything. Since the port construction, over 50 attacks, more than a third fatal. Warning signs in 2 languages line the entire beach. Coast Guard patrols the water. The beach is packed every weekend because humans have a consistent and specific capacity for believing the catastrophic thing that happened to someone else will not happen to them. Number 2. Fraser Island, Kagari, Queensland, Australia. The largest sand island on Earth. 75 miles of white beach. Freshwater lakes in sand dunes. Ancient rainforest growing directly from the shore. The Aboriginal Butchulla people called it Kagari. It means paradise. They were right about the beauty. They treated it with a level of respect modern visitors rarely match. Swimming in the ocean at Fraser Island is prohibited, not seasonally. Year-round, permanent, unconditional. Why? And this list gets progressively worse. Rip currents among the most powerful in the Pacific. Tiger sharks and bull sharks patrolling the offshore sandbanks. Between October and May, Irukandji jellyfish. The Irukandji is the size of your thumbnail, nearly transparent, invisible in the water, Its sting doesn't cause immediate pain. It causes something that arrives 30 minutes later, classified separately as Irukandji syndrome. Symptoms: total body muscle cramping, paralyzing back pain, uncontrollable vomiting, and a psychological effect documented across Australian ER reports as an absolute certainty of imminent death. Not fear, certainty. Patients have begged medical staff to end their suffering by any means available. Emergency response takes hours to arrive on this island. With Irukandji progressing, hours is not sufficient. So you stay on the beach. Fraser Island's dingoes are genetically isolated, the purest wild population in the world. Decades of tourists feeding them for photos have removed their fear of humans entirely. A dingo here doesn't avoid you. It evaluates you. Lone adults and small children have been surrounded and attacked. Fatalities. Documented. Campgrounds. Electric fences. Visitors travel in groups, carry sticks. And look down at the path you're walking. In the grass at the sand's edge, the eastern taipan, one of the most venomous land snakes on Earth. Small, quick, easy to step on. Kagari is paradise. It simply requires you to survive the experience of it. Number 1, Lake Natron, Tanzania. I told you at the start, a lake that turns living things into stone. Calcified bodies standing at the water's edge. Photographs that look like sculpture until you understand what you're seeing. Here it is, Lake Natron, northern Tanzania, East African Rift Valley, shadow of an active volcano. From the air, it looks wrong. Not blue, not grey. Red, deep arterial red, sometimes orange, sometimes the colour of an open wound. That colour, billions of haloarchaea, ancient microorganisms, among the only life forms capable of surviving what this lake actually is. Because this is not simply water. Lake Natron is saturated with natron, sodium carbonate, and bicarbonate, the exact chemical compound ancient Egyptian embalmers used to preserve their dead. pH 10.5, same alkalinity as household ammonia. Strips industrial paint. Causes immediate chemical burns on contact with skin. Shallow surface temperatures in sunlight, 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Nothing enters this lake and leaves unchanged. But here's what makes natron number 1 on this list. When something dies here, it does not decompose. A bird that flies into the mirror-perfect surface, registering it as open sky, does not sink, does not dissolve. The sodium carbonate mineralizes soft tissue, hardens feathers, freezes wings at the angle of their last moment. The body becomes stone. Photographer Nick Brandt documented what he found on the shore. Calcified birds in perfect flying position, bats with wings fully extended, animals frozen mid-stride, all white, all intact. All standing at the water's edge as if they simply stopped. First-time viewers assume they are looking at sculptures, art installations, something placed there deliberately. They are not. These are actual bodies of actual animals that Lake Natron turned into stone. Even the flamingos that breed here, the only species evolved to tolerate this water, sometimes have their chicks' feet slowly encased in rings of calcium carbonate until the birds can no longer walk. Researchers have to come to the shoreline and manually remove mineral shackles from living birds. Lake Natron functions simultaneously as a chemical weapon, a natural embalmer, and an open-air exhibition of everything that didn't survive the encounter. It doesn't attack with speed, it doesn't chase you, it doesn't threaten you. It waits. And whatever comes to it, it keeps. 13 locations. A runway fence that's always full. A Hawaiian tally with over 80 marks. A Florida beach where you were never alone. You just didn't know it. A Brazilian city where one building permit from 1990 is still collecting a toll in the shallows. And a Tanzanian lake that has been turning the dead into monuments since long before anyone was watching. One thing connects all of them. Not the sharks, not the currents, not the chemistry. The gap between how something looks and what it actually is. Every place on this list is genuinely beautiful. That is not a coincidence. That is the mechanism. Beauty is the most effective camouflage in nature. The ocean that photographs like a postcard is the same ocean that doesn't file incident reports. The beach your friend posted on Instagram is the same beach with 80 marks on the trailhead sign. The lake that looks like a sunset is the lake that turns what touches it into stone. Next time you stand at the edge of the water, any water, and feel that pull, remember the water was here before the first human looked at it and decided to swim. It will be here long after the last one does. Travel carefully. Watch what's behind you.